Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Steve Baxi.
And it's time for more Powerpuff Month. Steve, you know what I love about Powerpuff Month?
What's that?
It's a lot of fun because it's a nice change of pace. It has, as opposed to a lot of what we do, almost no intellectual value whatsoever.
I guess that's true.
I'm really enjoying that about it.
Is laughing at jokes.
Yeah, that's kind of most of it. You know, we try to be interesting and insightful when we can, but at the end of the day, it's a cartoon about little girls in kindergarten fighting bad guys and having superpowers. What you're saying
is you want me to write a 50-page script and to make a 2-hour video out of why this is genius.
Yeah, and then I want to see that get 1 million views.
Okay, great. We'll see how that goes.
Now, Steve, your next line is, challenge accepted! Today, we're gonna watch and talk about Beat Your Greens, which is an episode that Steve likes a lot, and we decided to do because it's one of Steve's favorite episodes. Steve, this is one I've only seen like once or twice.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Like almost every time I tell this story, this is another one of those things that I had a VHS from Blockbuster that I kept and watched all the time.
What was there a Blockbuster going out of business, and you guys went there and bought like 50 VHS tapes?
We used to do this thing where, like, every Friday my dad would come home from work, we'd get Chinese food, and we'd go to Blockbuster. That was, like, our Friday night routine from when I was a kid.
Yeah, but usually you rent movies there. Like, how did you end up with so many?
Because we had 2 VHS players, and you'd put the Blockbuster one on top, and then you put an empty tape on the bottom, and you'd record from the VHS of Blockbuster into your own VHS.
Oh.
And then you'd have your own VHS that you'd watch 1 million times, and then give the Blockbuster one back, and no one knows the difference.
Because you were able to circumvent the copyright protection?
Exactly.
Yeah, it was much easier to do.
I got really good at that. I got really good at, like, taping things and editing by pausing and hitting record randomly.
Well, if memory serves, didn't you just have to tape over the holes?
You could, yeah.
Wasn't that, like, all you had to do in order to be able to circumvent the copyright protection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they didn't do that for a while. So, like, there was a point where, like, you didn't have to worry about that.
Oh, you didn't even have to do that. It's like, oh man, this is like this really high-tech solution we came up with.
You had to do it more so for like brand new movies and such, but for things like the Powerpuff Girls, Blockbuster didn't care, I don't think.
We've got a piece of tape to go on our VHS tape. Folks, this is season 2, episode 5, and this will be the first of these that Steve and I have done. That's the first part of an episode, so we're actually going to get to watch the intro and talk about it.
Hooray!
Yay! So go to Netflix, get it to timestamp 0 or timestamp 2255 because their timestamp is backwards, and go to your DVD, and if you want to watch it with us, get ready to press play whenever I say now. Steve, are you ready, sir?
I'm all set.
All right, here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. So
Netflix has this Cartoon Network intro that goes before the actual intro.
Right.
So
yeah.
I don't know if that works on DVDs or if they do that on the DVDs.
I don't remember if those are there or not. That's a really good point you're making.
Because these are clearly tacked on.
The rest of you folks might be like 4 seconds behind us.
So the thing about the intro that I love is that Chemical X is a black chemical with labels that are black, so you don't know what's in it until it's empty.
Oh, that's hilarious! I never noticed that before.
So I don't know how it's possible to not have constant accidents.
So this is a point that I made in the commentary I did with Curious Low, but Steve, has it ever occurred to you that this is just the Batman 66 intro, right?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. They riff on that show all over the place. It's kind of great. And I think part of what makes this so much fun is that it's so overly violent and you don't think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the big complaints the new show is getting, is that they seem to be deliberately getting away from that.
I don't know. I'm really liking the new show. I think it's working for them.
I am too, but I'm just saying that crazy ultra violence seems to be kind of missing.
Yeah. Well,
it's not a thing I noticed.
Yeah, I didn't really pick up on it either until we talked about it before. So the other thing about this episode is the same thing that almost all kids shows had from the 80s and 90s, which is the cliche statement of kids don't like broccoli. I like broccoli. I didn't know what the show was talking about as a kid. I thought broccoli was delicious. I still think broccoli's delicious.
And it's in fact one of the only vegetables I really like.
I like most vegetables. Maybe I was just a weird kid. But I think broccoli's delicious. When I saw these alien dudes, my first thought was just eat them. And that's exactly what they do.
So I'm pretty sure that, wow, that is a happy son.
That is a very happy...
I'm pretty sure that the aliens landed in Courage the Cowardly Dog's farm.
Oh, I'm sure they did. But Courage was too busy dealing with some other evil monster of the week.
Yeah, like, this isn't nearly disturbing enough for Courage.
Oh, God, that show gave me nightmares.
This is one of the most disturbing episodes of Powerpuff Girls. Doesn't even come close to anything in Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Well, no, that's certainly true. This is one where, if you really think about it, there are people eating other people.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's messed up, but Courage, I can't even watch that show.
No, that show's terrifying. That show never loses its hit.
It's not fair.
There's just a giant floating head, and it's disturbing.
It's not fair to say anything in it because obviously I've not watched much of it because it bothers me. I can't make myself watch that show. But I imagine that this doesn't scratch the surface.
No, not even. Even when that show's being ridiculous, it's terrifying. And this is our Star Wars reference to a little baby that clearly has not seen Star Wars. See, I just don't relate to this. I don't understand kids that don't eat vegetables.
I mean, like you said, it's a cliche. It's a cliche. It's a thing you hear all the time. I knew a lot of kids that didn't like broccoli or thought they didn't. Some cliches are cliche because there's a lot of truth to them. There's a lot of kids that have that thing where it's green. I'm not gonna eat it. But I had this with a few things when I was a kid where like I like chicken liver. Almost no one likes chicken liver.
That's interesting. That's fair. Okay. Part of it might also be that I have weird things with foods where if I don't like the color, I don't eat it, and green's my favorite color, and purple isn't. I hate purple, so every time I see something purple, I don't eat it.
You know, oh, that's interesting. The professor just suggested something that might have been an interesting way for this episode to go. Where he says, well, girls, you have to eat your vegetables because the vitamins and minerals charge up your powers. What if, like, they refuse to eat vegetables and their powers stop working?
That would be interesting. I could go for that, yeah. It would make
no, transmit this! I'm going to start saying that.
I love how these broccoli people are voiced.
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that is super Hanna-Barbera.
Oh yeah, totally. They're definitely riffing on all that stuff. Powerpuff Girls never had a crossover with any of those characters.
No, and that's okay.
No, that's okay, but I mean, I remember other shows of this time period at least referencing them or having them play on screen or something. Powerpuff Girls never did that.
Yeah, I feel like this show kind of stayed away from blatant pop culture references where they would do them, but they would usually be I don't know if subtle is the right word, but I mean, like, obviously, you have the Beatles episode. That's a blatant reference, but not so blatant as like Johnny Bravo doing Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. It's the exact opposite of Animaniacs, where literally every joke is a pop culture reference.
And they wouldn't like come out and reference like specific people or like pop singers or actors and things like that.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I also like the idea of the broccoli villains trying to turn everyone into vegetables.
Yes, that's fantastic.
That's a nice pun. They're gonna lobotomize us by turning us into broccoli.
The great thing about watching this episode again, especially considering that I haven't seen it in years, but as a kid, this doesn't play to you as a comedy. It plays to you like it's a drama.
Oh yeah, it's just messed up.
Yeah, exactly. So as a kid, this was a really interesting plot.
I said Hanna-Barbera, but you know what these aliens remind me the most of? They seem like something, besides the fact that they're broccoli. Okay, I want those action figures too.
I do too. Blossom in a hat's awesome.
Yeah, she's creepy looking. That's great. They look like something out of Space Ghost.
Oh, you're right, they do.
And I don't mean the later Cartoon Network parody Space Ghost. I mean,
how is she running?
Space Ghost.
How is she running?
Somehow or rather, those pants also came with stilts.
So, based on the regenerative
That
powers,
scares the pants off
the
me.
broccoli people are Namekians.
I'm sorry, they're what?
They're Namekians. Dragon Ball Z reference.
Oh, thanks for explaining that, because I didn't know what you were talking about. So this episode is called Beat Your Greens, because most of these episode titles are puns. But
Yeah.
it's kind of funny, because the way they beat them is by eating them.
Yeah, no, that's true. This kind of freaked me out, though. Like, the fact that she had to eat something or she would die.
Well, and...
Or at least he thought she was going to.
Yeah, well, and it's just... This is disturbing.
It is. It's
like,
ridiculous.
Like
they are
dance
killing
around.
these people and eating them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're eating the... I mean, like, they're straight up killing the bad guys by eating them.
Yeah, no, this is the most savage way to beat your bad guys, by eating them.
That's right. Oh, you know what? I think they're also riffing a little bit on Mars Attacks.
Yes, on Mars Attacks, maybe on Kirby, because that's what Kirby does.
Mm-hmm.
The spaceships are cool looking. They're just cool looking.
I wouldn't go to the children. I would go to the adults.
Aren't they all vegetables, though?
Oh, are they already vegetable? I don't know. I'm not paying attention to the very complex, intricate plot of this episode, Steve.
I thought it was that they're all vegetables, and the kids aren't because they don't like broccoli, but adults do.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that. Yeah, sometimes I need somebody to point these things out to me, because these plots, you know, they're really complicated.
So Flash Thompson Jr. there is just...
Let's do it for the folks! That's a great line.
There's a couple of cameos here and there of other characters we'd seen in Powerpuff Girls. Like, a second ago, we saw the kid that was eating paste and turns into a monster.
He shows up in several episodes, actually. He's like one of the main kids.
Yeah. Every time we go to the school.
Yeah.
So this was always cool to me. I don't know why. Maybe as kids, playing with your food is natural, and so for them to make food into a weapon, it just it sparked my imagination.
Yeah. This was also, I think, more disturbing to me because this was an episode that I landed on flipping channels.
Oh, interesting.
And in the middle of that of the big fight where they're all eating broccoli. And so, like, it's like walking into, you know, a really like a really weird conversation that someone's having that you don't understand, or somebody talking about something like really intimate where like you don't want to walk in on that, and like I'm flipping channels and I stop on this and I'm like, what am I looking at?
That's true. It would be really bizarre without the right context of what this show is supposed to be.
Well, and I think it was before I really knew the show very well.
No, that makes sense. This is an earlier episode. This is season 2, so.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first cartoon when it was on, but that's a creepy episode too, and also has to do with food and things getting turned into other things.
Yeah, where, was it Bubbles? His hair turns into a chicken wing?
Yes.
Or something like that? Yeah.
It turns into a drumstick.
A drumstick, okay, yeah. I haven't seen it forever.
Because Fuzzy Lumpkins has a gun that turns things into meat. He's a meat gun.
That was terrifying.
Yeah, the meat gun.
Now the rabbits are eating.
Of course they are.
The other thing you should mention.
47 stocks.
I love all their vehicles because they've got like carrot horses and corn tanks.
The pumpkin one is the best.
The pumpkin one is the best. I kind of wish his staff was something, but it's not, as far as I can tell.
It's a corn stalk.
Is it corn stalk? Oh, it is. Oh, I love these goats. These are the coolest things ever.
I want to see like the broccoli army team up with Alcide from the Tick.
That would be great.
What kind of corn soldiers are you? We're colonels.
That's hilarious. So this is... I just want a sequel to this episode entirely told from the perspective of the aliens that came to conquer, and they will never go to Earth because their people were devoured. Make it really dark and serious and about how terrifying this is.
I don't know who is voicing the leader of the broccoli people, but he sounds a lot like David Warner. I'm sure it's not David Warner, but he sounds like David Warner, and that's hilarious.
I would want to look that up real quick just because I'm curious now.
Hypnotransmit my. I'm gonna start saying that. Except I can't yet, but I'll learn how to say that, and then I'll start saying that. Oh, this is weird. You never have a. You never really have an epilogue like this.
No, you don't. Okay, Broccoloid. They're the Broccoloids, is what they're called.
Ah, the Broccoloids.
The Broccoloid Emperor is voiced by Jeff Bennett.
Who's that?
He's the guy that did what was it? He's in Kung Fu Panda. He's in Fairly Odd Parents. He's in Regular Show. He's in Johnny Bravo. He's a really popular voice actor. He's been pretty much everything.
Well, he sounded a little bit like David Warner there. Anyway, well, that was fun.
Yes, that was. This is still a disturbing and fun episode.
It's such a weird. Yeah, it's not one of my favorites, but it's good.
It's one of my favorites still. It's great.
It's wild. Well, anyway, everybody, thanks always for listening, and hope you're enjoying Powerpuff Month. We're going to bring you lots more Powerpuff Girls content throughout the month of May. And Steve, thanks for helping me make it happen, sir.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. These are great.
I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Steve Maxey.
And we'll see you again soon.